field motion. And now I want you to go straight to the center so you can get used to putting weight equally through both sides, the same as you would when you're normally standing. Good. Now how about you try and stand again, and this time try to work on putting weight through the right side as equally as you can with the left. So go ahead. Good. You did a much better job of bending forward and equally putting your weight through. The first exercise we did for sit to stand was the forward and lateral rolling of the stability ball in sitting. We chose this approach to improve the weight bearing during sit to stand to the weak side with the lateral rolling. The patient will first place both hands on the ball and roll it towards her right side, which is her weak side, which will allow for a weight shift to the right side. Currently, our patient gains momentum by flexing then quickly extending the left leg, which is not efficient. We progressed into a forward rolling to work toward equal weight bearing and gaining momentum through hip flexion during the flexion momentum phase of sit to stand. It is important for our patient to have equal weight bearing while sitting and completing weight shifting exercises because she has a tendency to bear more weight through her unaffected side. We hope that she will acknowledge the increase in weight bearing on the right side and be able to translate that into a symmetrical forward weight shift without the stability ball. For this exercise, we're going to be working on some of the same things as we did in the last one, including weight shifting to your right side as equally as to your left. But this time, I'm going to have you clasp your hands together, and I'm going to help guide them forward and up to really help you direct your momentum when you're standing and help you put weight through your right side more, so you strengthen your right side as well as get equal weight bearing. All right, so on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Good. Then go ahead and sit back down. And also, when we get to the top, it's helping you get a more elongated trunk and good upright posture and stabilization when you're standing. 1, 2, 3. Do you feel your right side working a little bit more? All right, let's do it one more time. 3. Good. And now this time when you stand up, I want you to exhale a long, slow breath as you're going up, so that way you get even more elongation and you're really reaching forward and reaching up. So 1, 2, 3. Breathe out. Good. One more time. 2, 3. Reach. Great. Now I want you to try on your own one time. Sit, stand, my arms. You can do it with your arms. Good. We chose sit to stand with guiding of clasped hands towards the weak side as a progression of the previous exercise. By clasping the patient's hands with straight arms, the PT will guide the patient's hands on a diagonal towards the right side as the patient performs the full sit to stand. This will help the patient become more comfortable with weight bearing on the right side and work on strengthening the right lower extremity. This technique is also helpful in improving the patient's ability to attain a fully upright position upon standing. The patient will also exhale as they transition from sitting to standing to help aid in their execution of the task and gain full trunk extension. As the patient becomes more proficient in accepting weight through the right lower extremity, we will transition into doing sit to stand with symmetrical weight bearing without assistance from the PT to observe improvements in motor learning. So for this exercise, we're going to be throwing the ball back and forth to each other, and this will be working on your stabilization and your posture once you're standing, because after you go from the sitting position to standing, you have a lot of momentum, and sometimes it's hard to stabilize. So by throwing the ball, we're working on having to stabilize after having momentum and movement. So I'm going to have you throw the ball back and forth, and our lovely tech will be guarding you. Good. We chose bilateral throwing with a fixed lower extremity because upon standing, the patient has difficulty stabilizing her body, which is demonstrated by an increased sway during the stabilization phase. This exercise will work on stabilization of the body after an increase in forward momentum from the throwing, which is similar to the transition into the stabilization phase of the sit-to-stand task. This exercise also activates the core musculature, which is necessary for stabilization. The patient will stand in the parallel stance and throw the ball without stepping forward or extreme hip movement. This requires them to control their trunk with their feet stabilized after forward momentum is initiated. We expect the patient to decrease the amount of sway after practicing and see minimal sway after throwing, which will hopefully translate to the sit-to-stand task upon rising.